Ooh, we are back. We are back. Okay. What a game. What a performance. Uh, I think I'm a little bit late to starting. I'm not sure. Hopefully we won't have any stream issues like we did last time. I've changed my chat settings as well to be ultra low latency, so hopefully I can respond to those issues a bit quicker in the future. Um, Speaking of chat and stuff, I just need to quickly do my routine checks. As always, YouTube has not popped my chat out because it does that every single time, and I complain about it every single time. And I will every single time. Every single time it happens, I'm going to complain about it. But unfortunately, we do not. Fortunately, rather, easy for me to say, we have a lot to be happy about and not to be raging about. And yeah, wait, does the title say? Oh my god, I changed this and it didn't save. Oh, there we go. That should be fixed. See, that's one of the things which I can now do now that I've got the ultra low latency. There we go. Hopefully that should be fixed. Um, wow. That was a really weird game and a really odd game for me because the first half, in particular, felt like it went by so quickly, and then the second half just dragged on and on and on, and it was so. I think the best word I can use to describe it was nonchalant. We just didn't seem like we really needed to win. And yes, I did watch the full game this time. I didn't didn't miss the first half. I actually went back and watched that first half from the Spurs game, and my God, were we good. Um, yeah, and I was gonna say, as a perfect tribute to Angry Rant Man, I'm very happy that they got the tribute out. Credit to Tom over for reaching out to the family and to Chelsea officials and getting that sorted. Great work from him. He should be very proud of himself. And yeah, and not only a perfect tribute, but also a good game for that tribute to be in as well. Obviously, us probably putting on our best performance of the season. I genuinely don't think that we can argue that. Obviously, we beat Everton by 6 goals, which is slightly better in terms of scoreline, but I think that this performance was by far the better of the two. And let's not sit here for too long and ramble on without the music on the background, because that makes me annoyed. So I'm just going to hit the intro, and then we'll talk a little bit more in depth. Lads, lasses, and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and welcome to Feeling Blue. Okay, welcome back to Feeling Blue. As ever, I'm going to be going from left to right here and put in my lucky number of 7 things into these boxes from good to bad feelings, but as you can probably imagine, there's not a single thing going in either of these 2 boxes today. Everything's going in here. There's going to be 7 points all in here, and as usual, I'm going to be speaking and pointing out the players that I feel weren't just good in general, but really stood out to me. So for example, I'm gonna give an example here. I think Mudryk played really well, but he didn't really stand out to me as a player that really impacted the game. Obviously he had his moments, but he didn't really stand out to me as a player that needed to be highlighted, whereas others have kind of got in ahead of him. If I was to put in another player and I had 8 points, Mudryk would be the first here. So let's get straight into this, and someone's mentioned it. I saw them mention this in chat, and I think the true blue is going to be really hard to decide as well. I think this player deserves the credit the most out of this game, not just because of his performance, but just because of his existence has made us play so much better, and it's Marc Cucurella. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but he might genuinely be our best centre midfielder in the team, which is really funny. And yeah, him enabling us to play this system, and obviously we could have played this system way earlier. That's one thing which I spoke about on Twitter, which really pisses me off about Pochettino, because we know that he could set the team up to play this way. So why has he not done it until now? He's like, oh, you know what? 5 games left at the end of the season. Let's actually play football now. He was just giving everyone a head start. That's what he was doing. Obviously, with this victory, We have gone up to 7th place in the table, into the European spots. We are exactly level on points with Manchester United, who are below us, but they have a worse goal difference, down in 8th. They do have a game in hand against us, so we'll have to look out for their for next game. Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm just seeing people in chat just doing the name swapping with Cucurella. But yeah, I think Cucurella obviously not only just enabling us to play this way, but I think he was phenomenal in the middle today, and not just in the middle, snapping into tackles in the middle and being really aggressive in that middle, but also just completely shutting down the left hand side as well. I don't think Bowen really got much change out of him, and I even said this on my Twitter at the start of the game. He's winning duels now that back when he was playing in just at left back and not in this new kind of position, and he didn't have as much confidence, he would never be winning these duels. He would never have the speed to get back. He would never have the positional awareness to be in the right place. But now he has just completely turned it around, and he's looking like the player that we bought for 50 to 60 million off of Brighton. He really is looking really good, and it's not only that defensive work rate that I kind of want to talk about him, because he's actually now showing in this game, and obviously he wasn't under too much pressure from West Ham. They kind of sat off like I expected them to kind of do, but he was actually able to get on the half turn and play the ball forward. He was interchanging really well, even coming over to the right side sometimes, and just that constant movement from all of our players. I want to kind of give credit to everyone because they were all doing it, but that constant movement and that constant just popping it around and not letting West Ham get anywhere near the ball, and he was a big contributor to that in the centre, and I felt like he had to be highlighted here. Because I think, genuinely, as I said, I think he is a catalyst. He's one of those players that, because he is so high energy, and I think like Conor Gallagher is the same way in that regard, that because he's so high energy and because he's so aggressive and because he snaps into tackles so quickly, it rejuvenates everyone else in the team because everyone else tries to keep up with him. And I think yeah, finally we're actually seeing so the best out of him, and it's good. I'm glad, because this saves us having to get a new left back. Because I think a lot of people are saying that we kind of need to get a new left back in this window. And I think that he's kind of saying, hey, no, I'm still here, by the way. And if that's the case, we can save some money and put it towards other players, like, for example, a more centre-forward type striker or a goalkeeper. I know those have kind of been some rumoured things. Maybe an actual 6 would be nice. A new centre-back. Obviously, we've been rumoured to be getting a free transfer with Tosin Adebayor. If I can say that name right, that would be great. But yeah, easy for me to say. But yeah, hopefully he continues on this trajectory and we can have a really strong end to the season and actually push for higher places in the table. Obviously we can and are in reach of 6th place. If Newcastle lose and we win, we will leapfrog those men as well and get into 6th place. And I think that would be a very good end to our season. Yeah, it does really just depend on whether Chilwell goes, actually. I don't think he'll get sold because of how he's, like, I want to say important to the club, that's in quotation marks. I think the board sees him as an important player. I personally don't. But, yeah, I don't think he'd be sold. If he is, then I feel like we will get another left back, but until then, he'll say. Who do we want to talk about next? I briefly mentioned him there, so let's actually bring in the second player. I'm going to be bringing in Conor Gallagher because he is just, again, it's really weird. He's in a slightly different position to how he's been playing before, and now just suddenly he just plays really well, and half the holes that were in his game before are just gone. It's weird. It's really weird. He's not playing in too much of a different position. He's just slightly more as an 8 rather than a strict 10, and not as a complete 6, and it just suits him so much better, getting up and down the pitch, obviously appearing in both boxes. His finish for the second goal that we scored was phenomenal, and that's something which I have always kind of said about Gallagher, is that his weakness has been his technical ability. And the technique that he showed to finish so well, and especially when the ball is popping up to you like that and you're not expecting it, to have that composure to just place it into the bottom left corner with a sumptuous volley is, and you're always going to get in the good box if you get a goal contribution. That's kind of how I always do these. And yeah, I think that, I did see someone mention this. I don't think, and I kind of want to just say this is an overarching thing. I don't think Enzo not being in the team is the reason why we're playing well. I think the reason why we're playing well is because Enzo is out of the team, we've had to shift into a better system that suits our team more. I think that if we played this system with Enzo in it, I think we'd still be doing well. It's just the fact that we weren't playing this system until he's just been out of the team, because Pochettino sees that we don't have Enzo in the middle and thinks that we have to cover for it with putting Cucurella there. But yeah, Gallagher, obviously, I feel, as I said before, I think that his energy and his drive and his just aggression just always brings... he just always brings everyone else with him, and I think as the captain, I think he's doing something really, really well in that he's actually playing like a captain now, and he's leading by example, and not only getting goal contributions, but just being that player that's always going to say, no, I'm taking the game by the scruff of the neck, and I'm going to be the one that is running around, making the tackles, putting in the effort, you know? And obviously we know that he cares for the club, and if he is sold, I've mentioned this, and I said this before, I've said it so many times, all I don't rate about Gallagher is the fact that he's not technical enough to play as the 10. I love him if he's not playing in the 10. If he's playing in this hybrid position, in this 8 role, or if he's playing as a 6, I want him to stay. Us selling him would be an absolute horrific mistake if that is his new role. Especially if we sell him to Tottenham, I think that would be a horrific mistake, and if we do that, I'm genuinely going to lose faith with this board. He should be 100% be staying, and he is such a good player in that more reserved role where he can actually use his good attributes and his weaker ones are slightly hidden. And the thing which I'm actually impressed with him in this game in particular is that he was doing, like I said with Cucurella, was doing the same thing. He was doing things that we don't really get to see from him a lot, and that's that he always has a bit of a reluctance to get on the half-turner and play forward. He doesn't really do that very often. In this game, he was doing that much more often than he usually does, which is good to see, because that he obviously has to be the link between the attack and between the defense and the attack, and obviously when that's not happening and he just keeps passing it back to defenders, we don't really make any inroads. But in this game, he was so much better at doing that, and he kept getting the ball out wide to Noni, or in the centre to Palmer. Who should we talk about next? I've got so many things I just want to say about things. I think we should probably talk about that player that I just mentioned. Let's talk about Noni Madueke. Because I think, again, he's another player that has just been completely rejuvenated by this new system, and I mentioned in my preview, and I said that Madueke was going to be the guy that was going to really push on and kind of be the guy that's going to not only be player of the match. I did predict him to be player of the match, and I think he was. If I'm being honest, I think he kind of dragged us up the pitch. He was just completely had Emerson on toast for the whole game. And it was those 1v1s that I mentioned in my preview that kept arising that he was just taking so much advantage of, and he just had so much space, and it was weird because they just didn't go at him at all. And I can't believe that he had so much space on the right hand side all the time. And I know that's kind of something that I expected to happen. I kind of in my preview I kind of said that, like, if they give him enough space when the ball gets switched out wide and for him to run at Emerson, he's going to cause danger, and that's what he did. Any single time he got on the ball, he looked really, really dangerous. Not only getting, obviously he got a very weird goal for him, getting a header, which is completely bizarre, but also getting the assist. And that's the thing which I really want to point out, and I've seen that Archer has just said this in chat. The thing which I'm so impressed with him was the fact that he was so unselfish today, and the fact that he doesn't do what Raheem Sterling would have done in that situation and try to shoot. He could have very easily shot and probably had about, let's say, what, a 50% chance if he shot of scoring. But the fact that he knew, and not only is it an unselfish act to pass it across goal and a team, more of a let's just get goals as a team rather than talking about individual things. And I know Pochettino has kind of been out recently talking about how we should be not aiming for individual achievements but for team achievements. I think that maybe that has resonated with Noni in a way. And also just helping Jackson get on the score sheet, because obviously your striker getting goals regardless of where they come from, whether they come from penalties, whether they come from tap-ins, whether they come from mistakes, you know, like a mistake that the goalkeeper's just given it to you and you score that way, that type of thing. Goals give your striker confidence that will then lead into more goals, and we saw that in this game because, spoiler alert, Nicolas Jackson's going in the box, getting 2 goals today, and both of them were taken really, really well. Obviously, the first one he cannot miss. If he somehow missed the first one, I would have lost my head. He didn't. But again, his overall play is just phenomenal, and it's kind of frustrating because we get all this talk about, oh, maybe Osimhen is coming in, maybe Gyökeres is coming in, maybe we're getting Benjamin Sesko. And I'm sitting here like, do we really need them? Really? When Jackson is playing this well? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's a weird thing to be confused about, because obviously I put all of my stock in Jackson at the start of the season, even before the season, should I say, and said that he is the guy that's going to lead us forward. And I feel like if he keeps playing this way, we don't really have... I don't think that we could justify spending what has been rumoured today, 90 million euros plus Lukaku plus a youth player on Osimhen, when we could just stick with Jackson and save all that money and use that money for somewhere else in the team. Admittedly, I don't think that that's going to happen, and I think that what will probably happen is that we will get that centre forward striker, whether it's Gyökeres, Sesko, Osimhen, whoever, and Jackson will probably go out to the left wing, because I do think that he can play in that left wing role. I just don't think that the way... It's weird, because I think that the profile of striker that we need is that kind of raw centre forward, the guy who's going to get on the end of things. And I don't think Jackson is that. I think he's more of a Bobby Firmino type striker, where he likes coming deep, he likes linking with other players. He doesn't really like being the guy that's going to get in the box and score headers and things like that, right? And that's why I kind of feel like Osimhen is the one that we will go for, because I think Gyökeres is a little bit more of a... Similar to Jackson, he likes getting on the ball and running with it, rather than actually being the guy on the end of things. But as I said, Jackson had a really good performance today as that kind of, as I said, Bobby Firmino type player, dropping deep, linking with his teammates. Really, really good link up with Madueke all game. I think these two have really found a good understanding between each other, which is really nice to see. They kind of always look for each other in the box, which is good to see. And yeah, and obviously that link up providing him with his first goal for the tap in, and the second goal is. The second goal is just phenomenal for me. I just love the run he makes. It's a perfectly timed run, and I've been all over Nicolas Jackson all season saying that if you could just time the run slightly better, he would have so many goals. And he got very he got rewarded for doing that this time and actually being onside. And obviously when the VAR goes up, we're sitting there like, oh no, they're going to chalk this off, aren't they? But it doesn't, which is good. So yeah, Jackson gets in here. Obviously whenever you get 2 goals, you're going to get in here. Let's talk about a player that did not get 2 goals. He did get 1 goal, and it was a very good goal, and that's Cole Palmer, because I haven't put him in the box for a couple of weeks in a row, I think, or a couple of games in a row, because he's just been putting in standard performances. This was another Cole Palmer masterclass in that middle of the pitch, when he plays in that kind of... It's not a set. He doesn't play as a central 10. He plays in the inside channel, and he does this really good interchange with Madueke on the right hand side. It's not always playing in the centre. It's going out wide and coming inside and doing all that movement. He just looks a phenomenal player, and he should have got an assist. That pass to Mudryk was peach perfect. He's just... Genuinely, it's so weird, because he is now doing what we were kind of saying about Nkunku in pre-season. Remember when we saw Nkunku in pre-season and we just looked at Nkunku and we went, out of every single player in the team, this guy has the most technical ability and he just looks so much better than every other player in the team. That is what's happening with Palmer now, is that he just looks a class above every other player. Even when these guys in this box are looking as good as they're playing, he still looks like the best player on the pitch. He still looks like the best player on the pitch. I'm seeing scores being thrown in the chat. I do want to just clarify. I do have the app up. Liverpool have scored. So that's fun. Hang on, who has scored for Liverpool? I'm going to assume it's like Gakpo or something like that. Who scored? Oh, it's Salah. Of course it's Salah. Of course, the first time that Klopp actually starts Salah, he scores. That's just desserts, but there we go. But anyway, back to left-footed players that are actually good. Let's talk about Cole Palmer some more. But yeah, I think that he's just he's really grown into this talisman that we look to, and not only now is it just not only now is it just like, oh, we can pass it to Palmer and hope that something happens, he's now kind of we're now molding him into this player where he's not only our talisman, but he's unlocking the other players. Madueke, for example, is getting so much space because of the runs that Palmer is making in the centre, and because of the interchange that he's doing out wide. He's obviously playing the balls into Madueke when he runs at players as well. He's obviously being that link, as I mentioned with Gallagher, he's being that link between defence and attack. He'll drop deep into even like a centre defensive mid position to get the ball and dictate things that way. He's just a phenomenal player, and I don't know what else to say. He's obviously our player of the season. I don't think he'll get True Blue for this game in particular. I think there were some other players that deserve it a little bit more, but obviously that's up for you guys to decide. And yeah, I can't really say more about him. I genuinely can't, because every single time I say something about him, he just gets better. The final player that I'm gonna be putting in here might surprise you. I don't know. Maybe it surprised you. It's gonna be for Trevoh Chalobah. Because again, like I spoke about with Gallagher and with Cucurella and with Madueke, the resurgence that Chalobah has had is incredible to me. And I've always said this, that I love this guy. I love that he just gets it. He almost got another goal, which was crazy. The pass, the absolute, that pass that he puts in for Madueke is just genuinely mind-boggling to me, because we have been searching for a centre-back that can play those passes, and we were thinking at the start of the season, oh, we've got Levi Colwill now that we can do that with Levi Colwill, and obviously Colwill's been injured quite a lot. Chalobah can do those things as well, and I'm really, really hoping that he does not get sold. I'm so hoping that he doesn't get sold, because I know that's been rumoured. Not only is he just so solid in 1v1s, he's so solid in aerial duels, he's so good at passing the ball, he's so comfortable. He's got a lot more potential, and I think genuinely that the fact that he's got not only is he a great player, but he's such a good utility player, and he can play in so many different positions. And I think that actually helps with this new system, because he has to pop up in different positions all the time. He's not just playing as a right centre back. He's not just playing as a central centre back at times. He's not just playing as a right back, and not just sitting in the CDM role when, for example, Caicedo goes higher. He'll go into that position. But I was actually really impressed with the fact that he was going forward as well. He was actually playing as a straight right back in this game as well. He was everywhere, and I can't fault him for the defensive performance, because as soon as he's come into the team, we've looked so much more solid. I don't think that since this is the thing, is that since the second half and we swapped to this new system, we have not conceded a single goal. And I think that I said this before, and I think I said this in my rankings video when I put that, is that I genuinely think that Chalobah might genuinely be, once Silva's gone anyway, our best centre-back at the club, but he has just been so overlooked this entire time, and he was overlooked for a long time under previous managers as well, and it's good that it's good that we've actually now put faith into him, and we're actually allowing him to, you know, play football and show everyone why he's so good. And maybe this again will be a situation where we can save some money, because we don't need to buy a new centre back. And obviously the centre back that we've been rumoured to be going for is a free transfer, so we can save some funds that way and use the funds that we're saving to buy the Osimhens or the Gyökereses of the world, that type of thing. People are saying in chat, I've seen a lot of people saying in chat that the Caicedo should be in good. I would agree with you, but like I said with Mudryk, I think that he had a very good performance. I don't think he particularly stood out as a player that needs to be put in here, because I think my standards for Caicedo are so high that when he puts on a performance like this, I'm just like, oh, it's standard, you know? He's always this good. However, I'm going to be putting someone in this box that I think you guys are going to be surprised I'm putting in this box, and for the second week running, it's Pochettino. I can't believe it. It's happened. It's happened again. I don't know how this has happened, and you know what? I'm actually going to have to make more space for him, because he's not fitting in the box. And I just can't. I said I'll always give him credit when he does things right. I'm an objective person. I'm never a person that's ever going to be I'm not afraid to admit that I'm wrong, but when circumstances change, I'm never going to be a person that sticks to my viewpoints when presented with new information. And the one thing I've been saying this entire season is that the one thing that would change my mind on Pochettino, whether he needs to stay, is the fact of if he shows clear attacking patterns shows a clear game plan at the start of games, and the third thing was to not drop off in the second half. And for the first time ever, I think that we put in a good performance in the first half, but a good performance in the second half too. I think it's genuinely the thing. I'm not going to be putting in Caicedo because I've said we stick to 7 points on this thing. As I said, I think Caicedo is. I think Caicedo had a very good game, as did Mudryk, but they're just not going to be going in here. And I'm going to kind of combine this with Chelsea, because I think that if it's weird, because we still don't know if Pochettino is going to be staying. And I'm not changing my tune. I do think that he is not the greatest, and I think we can do better. But if he's going to play this specific system, and we stick to this system, if we go completely undefeated until the end of the season, and he pushes us up the table and gets us Europe, I would at least say that it would be fair to him to give him a transfer window and see what happens at the start of the next season. Because now he's shown to me that he can do it. That's the thing, was that before I had no feeling in my head that he could ever produce performances like this on a consistent basis. We've seen it for 3 games now. If we can see it for 4, 5, maybe 6 games, as we near the end of the season, I will be able to say with confidence that I do think that he can lead us forward. Until we actually see that, though, I'm still going to be on the fence, because that's how I work. I think that with a transfer window, if he brings in the right players that he wants to put into his system, and I mean this specific system, this 3-2-5 that he's now competing, not the old one with a 4-2-3-1 that wasn't working. If he buys players for that system and we revert back to what we were doing, I will completely be like, what is going on? Please stop. But yeah, if we do that, then I do think that he can keep his job, and I think he's really. I did say this on Twitter. It is a bit funny because we're now seeing this. We're now seeing the same kind of system that we saw in preseason, and one of the things that I remember from preseason that was really funny is that Pochettino said this, and I remember covering this when I was doing my preseason coverage of Chelsea, is that he mentioned that they haven't been doing any tactical drills. He's just been doing fitness work. Like throughout the entirety of preseason, he was not doing tactical work, and we've suddenly gone back to this system. That's that's working, that was working for preseason. I joked about this on Twitter. I was like, I wonder if he's genuinely said, because he knew that his job was under scrutiny, and obviously he's been coming out in interviews and saying things that have kind of hinted that he's kind of been told that his time might be up. I wonder if he's just said to the players, you know what, do whatever you want, go out there and play however you want. And I wonder, obviously we saw that I think it was, I can't remember if it was which player it was that was interviewed. One of the players that was interviewed in the Spurs game was talking about how Thiago Silva was brought into the kind of into the tactical talk. I wonder if this is a Thiago Silva masterclass that's going on, because obviously he was playing today as well. I wonder if that's a thing that's happened. Obviously I'm kind of joking, but yeah, I think we can have a really, really good relax now, because we've gotten up into the positions. Obviously, yeah, I saw someone say this, Chelsea heritage, losing to Forest. We could definitely do that. And as I said, that's why I'm holding my tongue on Pochettino, because if we start losing games and get overtaken by Man U and Newcastle don't and stay above us and stuff, and then West Ham get above us, then I'm going to lose my faith again. But I genuinely do not have. I don't think that's going to happen. I do actually have confidence that we are going to end this season very strongly. Now all we've got to hope is that Arsenal don't win the league. And hope that, this is horrific to say because City have won it so many times in a row now, but let's just hope City win the league, because they're the only people that can stop Arsenal from winning it. You know what? Someone's asked me this. I haven't actually put put this as a point, but I do think the refereeing was really good today. I do think. Oh yeah, Newcastle and United play each other too, which is really good for us. A draw in that game would be lovely, so they both drop points. Well, I think it's just Newcastle that really needs to drop points in that regard, but there we go. But yeah, I think the refereeing was actually quite good today. I didn't really have much of an issue with it, but then again, there wasn't very many contentious, or not contentious, what's the word I'm looking for? There wasn't very many decisions that the referee had to make in a way. There was no big decisions that kind of had to go our way that would impact the game. Obviously, I do want to give credit to one West Ham player, because I always talk about our performances. I don't think West Ham put in the greatest team performance. I don't think they put in a lot of effort. Obviously, they could have had a few goals. Bowen hit the bar 3 times, which is really funny. But I do want to give credit to one player, and that's Mohamed Kudus, because he seemed like the only player on their team that actually cared. Genuinely, the rest of them did not care. They just stood there and they were like, "We're not going to press. We're not going to do anything." And we're just going to stand there. But Kudus was actually trying. He was actually trying. I saw someone say, "Is it just me or does no one pass to Mudryk?" I have noticed that. I don't think that's particularly because they don't trust him. I think it's more so because we know we are more dangerous on the right side, and that's where Cole operates. Obviously, Gallagher. I didn't really mention this when I was talking about Gallagher, but Gallagher likes to go out wide left to kind of fill in that Cucurella position when Cucurella comes inside. And because he's out there and we don't really have that midfield control in that channel, we kind of don't ever play it to the left-hand side. We've always kind of been a right-sided team. Obviously, when Palmer plays on the right wing, we usually play it down that channel. I don't think it's particularly a problem with Mudryk. I just don't think that the way that we kind of operate goes down the left-hand side. I just don't think that's really the way we play, because we're always going to pass it to Palmer's side because he's the most influential player in our team, and he obviously stays on the right-hand side. Obviously Chalobah but usually Gusto, that plays in the right back spot as well for us this season, is our stronger of the 2 fullbacks. So I think that our team is just kind of set up to be a bit lopsided on the right-hand side, and that's just kind of, Mudryk is just kind of a victim of that in general, which is part of the reason why, again, it's funny that Cucurella has been so good, because now he's come central and he's not kind of out wide, and because the ball never goes out left, he is not looking horrific. But yeah, that's all I really want to talk about today. I'm going to let you guys have a lovely afternoon. It is a lovely sunny Sunday over here in the east of England where I am. So I'm going to have my iced cappuccino. I'm going to tune into the Liverpool Spurs game, and yeah, we can all enjoy our evenings today. I thank you guys for coming around. We're going to do the poll here. Where's the poll? Let's start a poll for our True Blue, as always. This will be the last thing I do. I actually, it's funny, someone just mentioned Mugcam again. I'm actually thinking of genuinely setting up Mugcam for our next stream, so look forward to that. I might do that. Who should we put in here? Who do we think is the players that are actually like influential in this game? I'm gonna put in. I always have to choose between 4 because I can only put 4 options. I'm gonna choose between pretty much all of the goal scorers, I think. And then let's do. This is funny because I'm not actually putting. I feel like I should put Palmer in it. Oh, it's weird. I really want to put Palmer in there, but I can't. You know what? Palmer's had True Blue for so many times, and I don't think he would win it anyway, so I'm not going to bother putting him in. Let's put in some different options because he always wins it. So those are the options for today. I'm going to take a sip of my iced cappuccino. Oh, it's a good iced cappuccino as well. But yeah, do 2 polls. I generally could do that, but we don't have enough options. If I did 8 points, we could have done that. Also, just because I like fan service, you know what? I like fan service. I like people being happy in my chat. I'm gonna put Caicedo in there. we're cheating. We're cheating. Caicedo's there now. I'm not gonna talk about him, but he was good. But yeah, we'll run the poll for a little bit longer. Copy the closest poll yet. This is a tough one to decide. Genuinely, I don't want to influence the poll, so I never really say my opinion in terms of True Blue. It's kind of heading the way that I would go, because I do believe that Madueke was probably our most influential player in this game. But there we are. Well, let's quickly, whilst that's going on, let me actually check when our next game is. I believe we've got a bit of a big break between our next game. I'll have to check real quick, as I so often do. We've got Forest on Saturday the 11th, so yeah, we've got 6 days. We've got 6 days between now and the next game. I'm going to be taking tomorrow off because My partner has the day off as well, so we're going to kind of chill together. But I will have time to do a tactical breakdown on this game, which is fun. And then obviously do a preview for the Nottingham Forest game. The preview for the Forest game will be out on the Friday, I would imagine. And yeah, that'll be out on the Friday. I don't know when the tactical breakdown will be out. Probably, I would imagine 2 days before that. So Wednesday. Don't hold me to that. It'll come out at some point in the early midweek. All right, cool. We can end the poll. Also, I've just seen that. Who am I cheering for in the UCL? Genuinely, I don't really care about the UCL when Chelsea doesn't play in it, which is really funny. I would like to see. I saw something the other day which was like, oh, what would you rather have happen? I do think it would be very funny if Bayern win it, because not only would Harry Kane get a trophy now that he's away from Spurs, which I think would be really funny, and just kind of stick it to them more, but obviously Thomas Tuchel is there, and I think that he's been very hard done by. I would like Borussia Dortmund to win it because Marco Reus is there, and he's been such a loyal servant for them for so long. Who do you think will get promoted alongside Ipswich and Leicester? If I'm being honest, who do I think will get through the playoffs? I would imagine it would be Leeds. Yeah, I don't really care for PSG, to be honest. I don't care for them. I'd imagine it would be Leeds, but obviously, I do have a bit of a bias. I do have a bit of a bias in the Championship because I'm from, well, not from, but I live in the east of England, so I would always like Norwich to do well. And I also think it would just be really fun for there to be the Ipswich Norwich derby in the Premier League. I think that would be really good. So yeah, I think that would be fun. Obviously, I would never actually go to like a Norwich game. I'm not that type of supporter, but it's one of those things where it's like my local team, so it's like, you know, I hope they do well in a way, unless they're playing Chelsea, and obviously if they're playing Chelsea, I hope we batter them 7-0. What do I think we should do with Amari? I'm actually liking this kind of Q&A at the end. What should we think we should do with Amari? I think the best thing for us to do, and I think the smartest thing for us to do, is to sign him to a new contract and then loan him out again to Ipswich, for not only the fact that he would be in the same team and he'd be able to settle there, and obviously he wouldn't have to do like a pre-season with us because we'd know that he's not going to stay with us, but it would also, then he can get Premier League experience whilst not hampering us if he doesn't play very well. You know, if he doesn't adjust to the Premier League well and he has an absolute stinker season at Ipswich in the Premier League, then we can kind of be like, okay, maybe you need a few more loans. And obviously we've got so many good right-sided players now. It's kind of, we wouldn't be able to fit him in. We've got this is crazy because we have so many young right-sided talents in our team. I just don't know. I just don't know what we're going to do with them all. Obviously, I know our board is kind of a profit-based thing, and we're buying so many young talents because we're trying to get profits. Obviously, we've got Angelo, as someone's just mentioned. We've got Paez, who's going to be coming, and who can play on either side. He's going to be coming in a year. It's just like, what's going on? What's going on? We have so many. We've got Diego Moreira, we've got Daigsy, but I don't think he's ever going to come good. We'll see. I think he scored for the under-21s, if I remember correctly. So that's good. But yeah, that was just a short Q&A session. Who actually won the poll? Okay. Madueke won the poll. Okay, cool. So Madueke will go into the True Blue for today. I do agree with that. As I said, I really like Noni. I'm glad that he's actually performing well now, because I know a lot of people are getting on his back for being a bit of a young kid kind of thing, and just being a bit like, you know, on the social media and stuff and not focusing on the football. Other people kind of get on people for that. But yeah, I'm going to be ending this here. Thanks guys for hanging out as ever. I'll leave you guys to watch the Liverpool Spurs result. And yeah, as I said, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the support on the videos recently as well. It's been really, really good. We're actually slowly creeping up to 17,000 subscribers. And I'm not going to say this as a definite, but I might be doing a face reveal at 17,000. I might be. It depends. I've told you before that I'm kind of moving. I'm in the process of moving house, so I'm gonna have a different setup. And when I have my new setup and I'm in a different place, then hopefully that's something we can do, and I have my background sorted. But yeah, everyone enjoy your evenings. I will be running the outro now. We move on to Nottingham Forest on in about a week's time. So, let's hope we start this very end the season very strongly. And this was not a very good. This wasn't a very strong end of the stream, because I never really know what to say when I'm outroing these. But yeah. Good night, everyone.
But that was just my Feeling Blue match review for this week. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this match in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, or check out some of the other videos on the channel on screen right now. I've been Mono from Mono CFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.